Hello guys, it's Trill again, and in today's video I want to talk about the development of CSGO in the last years and why I'm personally a bit unsatisfied about the current state of CSGO from a casual player's point of view. Today I want to give my personal input on how I think Valve could improve the game to make it much more interesting to play for the broad majority of players, since I feel like this game has reached its peak of success somewhere in 2016 and there just haven't been many new exciting things added to the game since then. I do not care about the ratings this video gets, many of you will probably disagree with me completely, but I just wanted to start a discussion with all of you and see if I'm the only one feeling this way and hear you guys' opinion on my personal ideas on how to improve the game. So to start things off, let me tell you where I come from. I started playing Counter-Strike Source in 2009 when I turned 16 and was legally allowed to purchase the game on my own. I immediately fell in love with the game and soon started playing CSGO 4 years later when the game finally got rid of the major issues it had upon release and matchmaking had been introduced. This was a major update to the CS scene since there was no in-game matchmaking for the previous CS games before. You would always have to resort to third-party providers such as ESL, ESEA, or you just had to buy a private server to scrim. Having an inbuilt rank matchmaking was a huge milestone for CSGO, and I soon found myself no-lifing this game for hours every day with my friends, striving to become a better player to climb up the ranks. New players that just recently fell in love with CSGO might still feel the same joy that we did when we started playing CSGO, however it feels like there's not much more to achieve within matchmaking if you manage to hold the highest rank for more than 2 years now. It's almost like it doesn't make you try as much anymore since you cannot climb any higher anyways. I'm actually quite happy when I D-rank to Supreme nowadays because there's finally a goal to play for in matchmaking again. Another problem I see is the map pool, which tends to become boring very fast. With a lack of operations since 2016, players in matchmaking are forced to play the same maps over and over again, and I just don't understand why we don't get to play more maps on a regular basis. So here's my personal idea on how Valve could improve matchmaking and how matchmaking would become more enjoyable for me and my friends again. First of all, I would add seasons to matchmaking. I'm not only talking about the map, but actual seasons, and I took this idea from H1Z1, a game which I also enjoyed playing a lot until PUBG and Fortnite took over the Battle Royale gaming scene. In H1Z1 there are several seasons throughout the year where every player gets a rank reset. For people like me and my friends who don't struggle to keep our rank very much, this would add a new type of motivation again, since a rank reset would mean that we'd have to fight to reach the top of ranks again. However, this comes with a bunch of problems in CSGO. If everyone got a rank reset, this would mean that a group of players which previously were playing on global elite level could face a team of total beginners, which wouldn't be fair of course. To counter that, Valve could sort of subgroup the ranks initially after a rank reset to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen. Let's say the ranks get reset every 4-6 months, Valve could group players that have been between Master Guardian Elite and Global Elite at first to only play against each other. Sort of like a hidden rank based on the rank the players had in the previous season. That way, Global Elites wouldn't play against much lower ranks, and over time, as more and more players finished their placement matches, the ranks would spread out and there'd be a challenge for all players again. As well as these seasons, I would like to see new maps from the community workshop being added to the game on a regular basis. I find it sad that we only get one operation per year nowadays, only bringing like 6 new maps to the table. I personally always love to try out and play new maps, and I really do miss playing some of my favorite operation maps, such as DE Seaside, DE Favela, DE Resort or DE Season. Why can't we just get like 3 new maps added to the game every 2 months or so? There are so many talented mappers out there which spend hundreds if not thousands of hours building a competitive map and will never get the chance to show it to a large audience, with Valve only adding 6 maps to every new operation every 12 months. In general, I feel like Valve should interact and work together with map creators a lot more than they do right now. Operation Hydra, for example, was a major letdown for me when we talk about the maps and missions. Out of 7 maps which have been added to matchmaking with this operation, there were 3 which we've seen in previous operations already, and don't even get me started on the missions. In previous operations, there were missions such as these, where you would play against 3 players on a casual server, and you'd have to flash 50 opponents or deal 200 burn damage to players. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed playing these missions, since it was different from the normal game and it was just fun to play. In Operation Hydra, there were only missions that made us play against bots. Basically, all you had to do was to defend a bomb site from incoming bots and use different weapons in every mission. Very exciting indeed. I find it shocking to see how bad these operation missions have become over time and how little effort Valve seems to put into these. Back in 2014 we got 3 operations in total per year, and I feel like all of these have been more exciting to play than the last 2 ones. How is it possible that a group of developers only managed to bring out bot missions to the recent operations, where there are single people out there like CTX or Morphine who single-handedly release some of the sickest co-op mission maps I've ever seen every few months? I really advise all of you to try out these maps. I will leave some links in the video description for that. These guys are wizards compared to the job Valve does when it comes to their co-op mission maps, and I sometimes don't even understand how you can even make things like these work in CSGO. So please Valve, give these guys a job or start working together with your community. People like these spend incredible amount of work and time on projects like these, and they really deserve being part of the actual game in my opinion. Another idea I had would be a new reward system similar to the one in PUBG. Upon finishing matches in PUBG, you get some so-called battle points based on your placements and overall performance that you can use to purchase crates in-game. I feel like such a reward system is much more motivating and interesting than what we have recently in CSGO, where you will get a single weekly drop upon reaching a new profile level and later even get punished for playing too much when your weekly XP multiplier runs out. I've played CSGO for more than 5 years now and I've never gotten or seen a drop that was better than in P250 Franklin during this entire time in game. I just don't think it's exciting to get a drop anymore, since it'll be some shitty spray paint most of the times that won't even sell on the community market. I'd rather have a system where you can see your bankroll build up and you get to decide on your own what to do with it. There could even be a shop within the game where you could spend these free obtainable coins on stuff like actual keys or maybe even weapon skins. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, but I would certainly enjoy a system like this a lot more. Maybe you guys have other ideas for this as well. Let's talk about movement related stuff next. I personally always love to find and use creative stuff within the official maps. As a matter of fact, the first CSGO video that I uploaded on this channel was a special spots and tricks video on Nuke, showing off some crazy stunts and tricks that you could do on this map back in the day. You could use a trick called flash boosting that allowed you to boost a player up on the mech hole on Nuke, and I just always loved crazy stuff like that and see the enemy's reactions when we managed to pull these off. From a competitive game point of view though, many of these things were not acceptable of course, and these soon have been patched. And I fully agree with the removal of most of these spots and tricks completely. However, over the course of the last 5 years, I personally feel like Valve has taken this mindset too far. Alongside flash boosting, they removed the jump boost, the ability to properly bunny hop, which has been a mechanic of the game since the early days of 1.6 and probably even previous versions of CS as well, and also things such as the old ladder movement, which I still miss to this date. Back until 2015 or 16, you could climb up ladders a lot faster, simply by kind of strafing up the ladder at an angle like this. This movement allowed for some very sick trick jumps on the Nuke for example, where you could strafe off the ladder to land on the shelf and totally surprise an enemy coming for ramp with this move, or the ladder to pellet trick jump on Nuke as well, which was a crazy hard trick to pull off to quickly enter the bomb site from Crow's Nest. In a movement update, Valve got rid of this mechanic almost completely, and in general I feel like good movement gets punished more and more in CSGO. Another indicator for this theory is the removal of the Nuke silo trick jump, which always required a decent amount of movement skill. I personally always felt great whenever I managed to pull this jump off first try, without the help of a teammate having to boost me and getting an opening kill with that. What happened to the silo jump? Valve added this thing to Nuke when the map was remade, and it literally took no effort to get on the silo anymore. With the recent update of Nuke, they removed that thing again, but it's still incredibly easy to get onto the silo on your own now. Being someone that spent a good amount of time trying to learn, understand and master the movement mechanics of the game, I simply miss such things. There have been entire communities that evolved around tricks like these, and people built maps and hosted servers where you could speedrun maps that you could only finish by utilizing such tricks. The only thing that's really left from these days is the run boost I feel like, and to me, plays like these are always the most memorable ones when I see them being used in big tournaments. In general, I feel like creative plays like these are the ones that people remember the most. Everyone still remembers the Olaf boost at DreamHack Winter 2014, whereas I cannot even recall which team won this event after all. I definitely agree that this spot deserved to be patched, as well as other pixel walks like this one, but I think it's sad that many creative boosts like this 4-man tower boost on Overpass got patched out of the game. In my opinion, spots like these require an incredible amount of team play, and I don't know a single player who wouldn't love to see stuff like this in a professional game, as long as it doesn't involve the use of bugs and glitches. I'm afraid that Valve takes the game too serious in a way by removing all that fun stuff, and you even get punished for creativity, certain tricks involving good team play, which is incredibly enjoyable to watch, and even good movement, which I find pretty saddening. Let's move on to Prime and Trust Matchmaking. I had high hopes when Trust Matchmaking first came out. It sounded like Valve finally understood the nature of cheaters in matchmaking and found a way to keep them out of the game. However, the past weeks and months have shown that they didn't. With our team's players averaging around 4,000 hours of CSGO each, we still face opponents with 200 hours or less in Prime Matchmaking, which shred us to pieces. I once said that I would like to see a solution where you don't get to play opponents that have significantly lower playtime to get rid of this issue. Many of you will now say that you could just idle the game and farm hours like this, but the solution would be so simple. Only count the hours a player spent in actual matchmaking and playing the game. That way, it wouldn't matter if the player farmed 5,000 hours while being AFK in the main menu, only the hours spent in actual matchmaking count. If Valve manages to implement Prime and Trust matchmaking like this, we wouldn't have to play against shady dudes like these with new accounts that perform better than some actual pro players we played against. Another thing that struck me just recently is the lack of communication between the CSGO developers and the CSGO community. Since I've recently joined the Battle Royale scene, I came to realize how much closer the developers of PUBG and Fortnite work with the community. Twitter is probably the best platform to do so, and while I see very active accounts such as these for games as PUBG that keep the community up to date and even respond to their feedback, the CSGO dev account just seems to be there to promote new cases and items that can be bought in real life, as well as the major events and the occasional update notes. I would just love to see some communication between the developers and the community, and I'm sure that the vast majority of you guys would also love to see behind the curtains a bit more. Overall, I think there are many ways to still improve the game and make it interesting to play throughout the year for everyone. I know that I'm not the only one feeling this way, and I encourage you to share your opinion on the game at the current state in the comment section below and tell us what you'd like to see being added to the game and what hopes and dreams you have for CSGO in the future. Last but not least, I want to say that I don't think that Valve is only doing a bad job right now. We did get some nice changes here and there with the new sound updates, new game modes such as Wingman, Flying Scoutsman and so on, but overall that just doesn't cut it for me. I used to play anything between 10 and 15 matches a day on the weekends a few years ago, and I really missed those days. It never felt like I got tired of playing the game since there was always something cool new to find and learn. I really want these days back, so please Valve, start focusing on the casual gamers again and deliver new and exciting content on a regular basis. Your long established player base will thank you for that. Thank you guys for watching, let me know what you think about this whole topic, and I will see you in my next video.